Good morning, early morning. Coming to you Sunday, December 23rd, 2018. For 400 hours and 32 minutes. As I stated, in 2019, I want to do it now, but I know it'll require a lot of studying because just on the computer, even the almanac, the encyclopedia on the computer, for some reason, I'm learning it won't give you all the information. So it's all to utilize computer. But in some cases, you're gonna find the same things off the computer when you read a book. But some cases, just say the title was Theology, Why We Don't Talk About It No More. We don't talk about a lot of things. I know I talked about that as well. This won't be very, very long. It's gonna be shortest 15 minutes to half an hour. No more less than 15, 20 minutes, I mean. Sorry about that. And why we don't talk about the theology no more. The types of theology. We have theology proper. That's the study, the character of God. Then it's like it is a lot of the words. It's more just of the words. I don't really care. Angel, the study of angels. Biblical, the study of the Bible. Christianization, the study of Christian, how Christian, and this is the basis form of all the they base everything back to Christianity because it's called Christianization. That's the studying of all the religions. And there's other religions under that form of theology. I have to get that name. And then you have the Christ, then the ecclesia, then in other words, and the one that I had to really woke up from. That's why I'm this is I'm telling you, I never thought of to study theology. Never have in my whole life. Some reason I woke up and we don't even talk about theology. You see how we don't talk about certain things no more? How we don't show imagery. This is just the EG imagery of African descendant people in America doing good, but they want us to be good. Think about that. And then that the study of sin, and I kept looking up, they kept saying it different. Is basically I'm gonna pronounce it as if I was a little kid. Ham archaeology. Harmarchiology, the study of sin. We don't talk about sin. So sin, all it is the curses of the world, the eras, ERROR, in the ERA, the era we in, the time frame living. So when your parents talk, they say in our time or the era we lived in. So if we're talking about sports, they say this era I grew up in. It's not depicted on how we say the century, a decade, or from what time frame. It's an era is basically if I was to become an artist and just say I'm 36. I was being an artist. I started being an artist since I was 26. That's when I started. Well, in the era in the 10 years, what were the best music you heard? And most likely, if you bring that up and I'm in the conversation, you're talking about my music in the last 10 years, that era. Not so much that was the decade, unless you're just going to classify it, but the separation of it is what era did we learn this? So I want to talk about why we don't talk about theology, the five branches. And those are different examples of theology. Theology, the study of nature of God and the religious beliefs. And to me, the theology, because when I looked up one of the words, I lost it. It showed patriarch. So patriarchism. And then so the matriarch. Remember the ma and the pa, the ma and fa. And now in this case, the ma and the pa, PA to MA, from the FA to the MA. We just changed the word in the other language to pa. So more and other, there is no culture in this world today, no society where the woman is honored. The closest example is the Queen of England. So this year, the lineup is I want to bring up, and overall, if I keep saying it to you, haven't noticed since I even brought this up towards the end of the year, the only downfall, and I have got revelation on it, is men and women. And if you want to know the downfall between man and woman, The beginning of every scriptural literature out there in the world will show you. It'll show you the woman doing something while the man wasn't around. It's not the man's fault. And that's where we got into that. That's why that became so important. And if in my African descendant race of people, our women is gone. They're no longer with us. And if you're a woman that you are, that's you're going to be part of we call it the matrix. You're going to be almost as if you know how Neo had, what was her name? What was the lady name in the Matrix? They called her. They call him Neo, and they call her. You're going to be the lady because you're still going to believe in the man. All the other ones going to be the Smiths. They're going to come against. Neo is the African descendant man. And this is the thing I have yet to understand. Why are they trying so hard? I know why, but to explain it in words, yes, that's what I mean. They're trying so hard to destroy the African descendant man. The first destruction is the woman. You attack to destroy a man. You destroy man, the men, you don't attack the men. They never attack the men first. They destroy everything that the men have to place this. So my seed is my knowledge. I have to give it out. Well, corrupt the minds of the people I'm giving knowledge to. I have to put my actual seed into the woman, mess up her womb. I have to live with the woman, make sure we stay divided and separated. But nobody want to talk about, we want to bring up history, but when it's time for us to bring up the true history, we don't bring it up no more because we always got to find fault in the man. And even men that's married, that's great men, I will call good men. I know a lot of, if Brother Malcolm was around and Brother Martin was around, I'd have told them this. I've said, if y'all give me an opportunity and space to explain this to you, give me some time, even in the rawest form where I'm doing now, because a lot of this is going to be raw because we're not taught theology anymore. We're not, a lot of traditions that's actually good for us, we're no longer following them. We're not talking about the sins anymore. We're not talking about, this is the greatest one. This year was so high on Illuminati, which that's not their real name. How come we forgot about it? I just watched in the news in the last month when I'm over on my life. I don't have cable. I don't turn the news on. And when I'm at home, I turn the news on for specific reasons. And I turned to there for a reason. I went to LA, HLN, CNN, MSNBC. I kept watching the people. I know who they are. This is the greatest part. I won't say craziest part, but it is crazy because I'm crazy to people. I'm gonna be crazy to a lot of you. The crazy part is I knew who these men and women were. It's harder for me to get the women because of spirituality, because women are more aligned to the spirituality than the men. Not in a sense of saying women spirituality. Our spirituality is higher than women. Because you always ask the women, when we're decide to be together, the man have to present himself to her. She has to receive him. But even though she receive and he present himself, we are always told the man is supposed to do everything to get the woman. The woman is supposed to do nothing. The woman just needs to know how to do this, and that. That's it. She don't. So if the relationship breaks, the woman, again, we're going right back. There is no fault. Don't matter how we look at it, we're never going to find fault because we don't know the ma and the pa and the ma and the fa. Fa and pa is the same thing, but it's in different languages. So maybe, and that's because of the Spaniards. They became part of it. That's why we have Spanish. They're not Hispanic. They're just Spaniard. They speak the different languages of Latin, of Spanish. And they stole a lot of things, a lot of the language, the arts, the culture, just as the other Romans, the Dutch, the French. And it was another one that I had. I did not write it down. It's got to come back to me. Another, what you call that? Dutch, French. Is that nationality? That's not ethnicity. because it's ethnicity has been destroyed unless you are more just born. So now these African children, now it used to be like a more of an American thing when you seen they called it black and Asian. Now it's gonna because we're of African descent, so we were black in America. So the black and the black now African in Africa are gonna be African and Asian, which we did less. I'm not gonna call it colonization. We did less that back in the original time. African descent people, from our understanding, we didn't colonize or be conquered because we was friends. We had to become friends with the people around us. And the present wasn't our woman was more, and nobody want to look at this. Things change. If we go back throughout history, it's a count of more women having baby with similar other tribes that wasn't of the same descent. But some tribes could not have women could not, if they go back, even the white women couldn't have some, they couldn't have children with white men. And I don't care what nobody say, the Caucasus race people, and nobody talks about this either, how if a mosquito bites them, the mosquito dies. They're a lot of their race is plagued. They're plagued, is not curses. They're plagued with diseases that we don't have. If other races don't have diseases as this. The only closest race is, I guess you could say, Asian or Oriental, or was it Asian Oriental? What other name they call people that's close to Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, all those that type of race that speak the language still in a hieroglyphic form. So those people are the closest to the, because they said there's the Edomites and the Hamites, and then there's all the other quote unquote blessed races or tribes of Judah, or the tribes of Judah. Then you have different other tribes. Then the tribe that we know of that we just recently, the Senegalese tribe, that still haven't branched off into the world. There's still parts of the world I'm going to be talking about, which it's not going to be a lot of information on, that we have not discovered yet. The world is not fully discovered. The world is bigger than what they say it is. Like if you wanted to travel around the earth and really hit all the four corners, it will take you your whole lifetime. And only people that basically do that if you have a good spirituality and lots of money. Because money alone is not going to get you and feed you what you need. So if you don't prepare the meal the correct way, if you don't season the food the correct way, if you don't digest the food and it don't go down and it don't come out and you don't receive what you need, that's an incomplete meal. Just like the information so it's relatable. It's aligned to, I'm using that as a metaphor of how we receive everything in our whole entire life, from children to adulthood, or from a child to adult, or child. Then you go baby, you go child, preteen, teen, adolescent, adult. Then you got mid. Then you got more towards the end adult. And they say the one thing in the life that is certain is death. Death is not certain. We know of death, but that don't mean death is certain. That don't mean we are fully sure of. We're not even sure about the breath. How are we sure about death? Only thing we know is our natural bodies no longer works. It's no longer, the vessel no longer works. After that, we don't know. Before that, we don't know. So we want to talk about the having a hill. The other lineups, and this is the more spiritual lineup. And I gave another lineup about different things. I had it written down. I don't have it said by me. What we're gonna start getting into what we're not going to talk about. So if we talked about Illuminati, let's talk about what can make up these people. How can you join? What is part? Because I've been approached by many. I've been approached by the newest one that we've been hearing about is being a Moor. That's new. People's like Pan-Africanism. People say it's not new. It's just, yes, it have. Because if you don't talk about it, it's new. That was new to me. If I never heard the word God before until I was a certain age, that's new to me. People have to forget that. Stop forgetting that is new to them. Before you went to school, before you had that house, that was new to you. Everything is new. So as we keep walking away and going away, what is great for us, we're going to fall. And the fall is the curses, the spells, the trance. We're gonna have these tests, we're gonna have these trials and tribulations, and we're not gonna have no way to complete them because there's no information to complete these everything that we're gonna go through. A lot of us won't experience it. And just as I said, I woke up with theology on my mind. I'm gonna go through theology. So what I say unto one, I say unto all is your path, is your journey, is your choice. Choose wisely. Start understanding of what I'm the type of person is. I cannot just sit here and say that's the way it is. Things will never be the same. And I have to truly honestly say, was thinking yesterday, I'm old. The times have gotten worse. Because there was people were gay, but there wasn't gay households. There wasn't blended gay families. Back then they were gay, they wasn't blended. Those people was hiding. They wouldn't even, and they was the biggest liars. Who you think passed the laws to help them get to where they needed? Think about it. It's not a diss. They kept passing laws to help them get to where they needed. So think about everything. If you think about the gay community, it's a community. The black neighboring surroundings, we don't have a community. We might have had it. The closest back then probably was the 50s and the to the mid 60s, because that's when they destroyed everything. And that's when we finally started, when Martin Luther King and Brother Malcolm, the well-known brothers, because there were other people that worked within the system that we have, because this is a system we're working in. This perfect controlled society they're building us to, that we had all of these things that was great for, then they destroyed it. If you read in a book, the government of the United States of America helped destroy the building and the creation. We made a foundation. We was beginning to have a culture. They helped destroy us. Why is that? See, nobody questioned that. And I say this to end it. Without our women, without our men, but more so without our women loving, our own women loving us, African descent men, not on our side. And now they're advocating for interracializing and intermingling. If this don't change, I'm going to tell us this now, because it's not, and nobody's going to hear this. It's going to go by the wayside, as we say. This is going to fall into deaf ears. This is not going to be heard. If our women don't come back, if our women, I haven't yet to met a woman to I want love, this and that. I told a woman I accept it. All the women that can do is say, oh, you just accepted that you won't find love from your own race of woman. I said, yes. I said, do you date out of your race? She said, yes. I was like, there it go. Because once they date, and it's nothing to do with because they dating a guy that has sex with a horse. I don't go into that. Okay, that's whatever. But once they leave the race, if a woman say, I honor my own race, you can go date out of your race. I have no problem. But once she say, I've been treated better, they done better, we lost her. Our women, we lost her. There's no way to get her back. But there is a generation of women. That's the one. I'm 36. So these 18-year-olds I see that love these white Caucasian men, these other race men. Remember, there's 440,000 single African descendant men. I don't know what their background or history is. Just think about that. And then you have the women now are no longer wanting. So you got to remember, these are men that's almost 30 years old and up. That's single. So we just now hitting the mark of where we supposed to be at in life, just as those same women. So now they don't want him. We already suffered that they didn't want us anyway. That's why these men are single. They're not wanted by their own race and no other race, because we've been demonized. Oh, and we, in the second chance, these opportunities we no longer will have the same opportunities as other races of men. So as we got these new groups, it's gonna be a suffering. But these men don't want to go out of their race. We are going to be forced. And then even that, we're more so on as women did in the past, women were not willing to be single. So nobody talks about how our women, our African descent women, have always been with other races at a high volume as well. The same as Caucasus men kill more our African descendant women. Since I was small, always seen her with different races of men. Always. She always dated every race. Most African descendant men, when he decided he only dated one race, he dated his own woman. And most such as he met another woman from another race. See, now our women are aiming to go out of the race. They're aiming. It's no longer saying, well, I'm going to wait. And well, she's 16. She's already, her mind is no longer on her own race of men. So if we don't understand that, and I'm not saying fight for it. I'm saying if you have a son or a daughter or a young African descendant woman around you, you gotta show them, guide them, and challenge them at a young age that what you did is wrong. No more of, because we need, in order for us to be successful, we need them to understand of the wrong they done and how they gotta be held accountable. But they're gonna say that's an attack. He shouldn't, because of the theologies we have created. Until we understand these theologies, our women is going to be far from us. That's what he said. I will be far from you. Our women, think about it. I am. Who are you? I am far from you. Shalom.